Regina Spektor, Home Before and After, album review, let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spitting, here tonight to chat about this latest from Miss Regina Spektor, one of my all-time favorite singers and songwriters. Regina is an absolute gift. She really, in the 2000s, the early 2000s that is, began putting her name on the map, sort of really came up in this New York anti-folk scene with putting out these very bluesy, sort of jazzy albums like 1111 and Songs. And you know, they're not the most polished of albums at times, but my god, like, there are so many great moments on there, so many so that you could see the birth of something truly special. The rawness and the explosivity of her performances transferred really well to her full-length studio debut album, Soviet Kish, but also alongside with it, we got personal stories, odd occurrences, very visually intense lyrics, as well as universal thoughts, and I've always loved that. And if I was already a fan with these first few projects, I became a mega fan with Begin to Hope. Tracks like Fidelity and Samson are still some of her best tracks that she's ever wrote, and not only that, but around this time, a lot of my friends who were not into singer-songwriter stuff, and certainly not into Regina's music, you know, became really on board with her stuff, checking out her old stuff, and became fans for life. It's that good. It still sounds great, too, to this day. And while not exactly, you know, a critical or a fan favorite, I like her follow-up album Far as well. As a matter of fact, some of the deep cuts here are some of my favorite tracks from hers. Now, around the time of what we saw from the Cheap Seats, I thought the album was okay. I thought it was fine, but at the same time, I felt like I personally needed a little refresher with Regina. I needed a little something different. But we absolutely got that in 2016 with Remember Us to Life. This was a dazzling, immaculately performed, wonderfully produced, really refined set of chamber pop tunes. Easily her best in years. It is absolutely beautiful. I raved about it then. I rave about it now. It's still really, really good. Which leads me to this new album. I thought most of the singles leading up to it were pretty decent, actually. And yeah, most of this album really is. This album starts off with Becoming All Alone, and it's a really great intro. It is a very lovely start, and one that just sounds home for Regina. A lot of this album does. It is a beautiful piano ballad. You know what you're getting. You're getting the very quaint, very visual lyrics as well. And as it rolls on, this instrumental does pick up a little bit. And I know that's something that people are very iffy on when it comes to Regina's music. But between the subtle drum beat and the very refined instrumentals surrounding her, I think it does nothing but really, you know, back her up in a big way. It's super passionate. It's wonderfully wrote, and it puts me in the mood for a Regina Spektor album. One Man's Prayer is really compelling too. I mean, it's right there in the title, guys. It is literally one man's prayer. And truthfully, it's really tender and really well approached. I mean, outside of that, her vocals, these might be some of the best on the entire album. The instrumental's really tender. It's just really well done. And some of the later lines are a little questionable, a little odd too, but still, I can look past that. I think this track is great. Raindrops, on the other hand, it's just beautiful. This takes me just, honestly, back to a really simple time in the book of Spektor. It's beautiful, it's heartfelt, it is full of love and life, and even more full of visually intense lyrics. It's very much back to basics, but it tugs at all the right heartstrings. And what might have been is really sweet as well, even though it's downright dark and depressing at times. But it's done in Regina's way. It also has its own unique drama to it in her own way, once again. It honestly reminds me of her early days, what drew me to her in the first place. The explosive performances, the very stripped down instrumentals, it's all here. And it's something that just doesn't really get old for me either. Now, there are a few moments here that sadly I feel like Regina might need a little switch up once again. Not much. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Up the Mountain, I wasn't a fan of it when it first dropped as a single, and it really hasn't grown on me. This is the sort of glossed up track from Regina that I think does more of detracting from her performance than anything. It's a little too shiny for me, and speaking of her lyrics and her vocals, I'm not really crazy about either one of them here. Her songwriting just actually gets borderline obnoxious at the end. It's just there's so much better material here. It's just phoned in. I personally know she is so much better than this. And Sugar Man, I don't know what happened here. This is painfully bland for Regina. And listen, I'm up for any sort of piano ballad from her. I will take them all and be happy. But this is one of the most inoffensive, repetitive, and ho-hum tracks here. It's really boring, shockingly so. I don't remember anything about it. And my thoughts on Space-Time Fairy Tale are, I don't know, very, very muddled. It is very cinematic. It is very graceful. That goes without saying. But I took one look at that 9-minute timestamp and I started to worry a little bit, and I think rightfully so. I think it overstays its welcome, and that's a real shame because there are endless good ideas here. And I really want to like this track because some of those ideas are breathtaking, but it's just not enough good ideas for 9 minutes. Like, this entire middle section drags so much, and by the time it rolls back around into the actual track itself, I'm just lost. I certainly get the appeal. If you like it, good for you. I'm happy. I wish I could, but I just can't. But Regina still has so much to offer. Like Coin, this may be my favorite deep cut here. This is a strange, cinematic, and almost mysterious track from Regina, and that's not something I was expecting, but I'm glad we got it. I love how intense this track is. I mean, Regina, since day one, has been putting out visually immaculate lyrics, but even this is like going above and beyond in her book. It's great. It just shows how much she still has to offer. And it's so simple. It is just a stripped down piano ballad with just her vocals and some lyrics. And God, it is so good. And when the orchestrations eventually do come crashing in, it becomes larger than life. And Loveology, I think it's the best track here. You want to talk about a return to form? Look no further. I've loved it since it dropped as a single. I think it's the most instantaneous track here. It is so, so beautiful vocally. This is my favorite performance of this album, like, not even close. And even in her standards, she went once again above and beyond in the songwriting department. It is just so deep, and it's on the long side, but it's not overblown. It's just a track that really pushes its own boundaries. It ends up being really timeless, and Through a Door as a finale is fantastic. I love how smoky and bluesy and hushed it starts out as. Not only that, but as far as emotion goes, this may be the biggest gut punch of this album. It is incredibly eye-opening, and I can't look away. This is like watching like the last 5 minutes of like a really stunning art house movie. Like, you just can't look away. As far as one-liners, look no further. These are the best of the album by far, and her vocals are just so freaking immaculate. Bravo, Regina. Fantastic finale. Yeah, this is just another very, very good album in the Regina Spektor catalog. Even a great one. I wish, I could rant and rave about it a little bit more, but those couple of blemishes, they're low even for Regina. Like, she could do better than some of those. Shockingly so, but, come on. It's Regina Spektor. She really, has outdone herself more times than not on this album. The songwriting's immaculate. Her vocals still sound great. The production is great. The performances are awesome. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to say for this time in her career? She's been at it for so long and still has this much to give. Hell yes, that is commendable. I'm feeling a very, very strong 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.